Hi everyone, I'm Jesse Grant, and my guest today has one of the most amazing and controversial success stories in history. He's a #1 New York Times best-selling author with over 50 million books sold, and the founder of dozens of companies that have generated billions of dollars in global sales. His newest book is called Your Wish is Your Command: How to Manifest Your Desires. Now, in it, he claims that by using a little-known technique, anyone can manifest in their life virtually anything that you desire. Now, can you really use your mind to manifest what you want in life? Or is the law of attraction just a scam? Let's find out. Kevin Trudeau, thanks for being my guest today.
My pleasure, glad to be here.
Now, Kevin, you've started 60 companies that have generated billions of dollars in sales. You've been called the millionaire maker, the #1 success coach in the world. Now, how did you develop this course? And more importantly, why? Why did you feel you needed to develop this course right now?
Well, the Your Wish is Your Command program is not something that I invented. It was actually something that was taught to me. Back in the late 60s and early 70s, I was inducted into an organization called the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood is similar to Skull and Bones at Yale University, the quote secret society, or Bohemian Grove, or the Bilderberg Group. It's a group of people around the world that are taught how to use their mind to manifest what they want in life and other mind techniques. Basically, train the mind to do things that the average person can't do. I learned the secret, if you will, or the principle of using the mind to manifest goals, dreams, and desires. Now, it sounds similar to what was in the book, The Secret, the law of attraction, which we talked about before.
Yep.
You know the law of attraction. That actually goes back to the book by Napoleon Hill back in the 30s called Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill wrote that book with information that he learned from the richest people in the world at the time, including Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man of all time when he taught it to Napoleon Hill, J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, who his estimated net worth in today's dollars was around $700 billion. Wow. I mean, so these are very wealthy people. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Tesla. They taught Napoleon Hill information about how to think or use your mind to create what you want. Thus, in today's society, we have the law of attraction, which is popularized. I learned the technique, but I really learned the secret behind the secret, because there's some missing ingredients which causes most people, when they use the law of attraction, to not get any results. It's been estimated that 90% of the people that read The Secret and tried to use the law of attraction or any of the training that's available from any of the other success gurus, they try to apply it, but for some reason they don't get the results they want. And that's why they say the law of attraction is a scam. It's not really a scam, because the mind does create what you want, but there's missing ingredients to the recipe. And when they don't apply and use those missing ingredients, they're not going to get the results they want. I learned it properly, and that's how I created billions of dollars in sales. I don't have any college education. My dad was a welder. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any money to start. All I was taught was how to use the mind to virtually broadcast a frequency out into the universe to virtually create and manifest what you want in life. And now I teach this to others, and everyone who's using it is getting spectacular results.
What is the biggest difference between this and the law of attraction? And what would you say is maybe the biggest lie or falsehood about the law of attraction?
Well, there's 3 reasons why a person fails, and nobody understands this. The first one is they don't apply what's called the manifesting formula properly. You've heard, think of what you want, define your dream, get a burning desire for its achievement. That's what's written in the books. Think about what you want, see yourself in possession of what you want, feel now as if you actually had what you want, and therefore it'll magically manifest. So people do that. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote the book, The Power of Positive Thinking, actually popularized it with what he called the as-if principle. See yourself and feel now as if you were in possession of what you want. And even Napoleon Hill talked about that in Think and Grow Rich. But when people do that, they don't get the results. So the first reason is there are missing ingredients there, and we'll talk about that, but they're not applying the manifesting formula properly. The second reason why people fail is they have counter intentions. So even if they are applying the manifesting formula properly, it doesn't create results because they're trying to push forward with manifesting what they want, but there's a counter intention basically neutralizing their efforts, stopping them from manifesting what they desire. Those counterintentions are actually in your DNA and in your own memory bank. It comes from your ancestors. If they had a trauma, scientists now have proven that if a ancestor had trauma, it's in your DNA. They can actually see it. They can actually say, oh, you had trauma there. These frequencies actually counter intention frequencies, stop what you're currently trying to produce manifest. So there's counterintentions that have to be cleared out. And the third reason that a person is not manifesting what they want is when they're trying to use the manifesting technique, they're broadcasting that frequency from their brain on the wrong frequency band. So they're actually broadcasting on beta. The brain has gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta. Poor people, researchers have shown, broadcast out of their brain mostly on beta. So if you think about what you desire, you set a goal and you think about it and you do all the manifesting techniques, but you're broadcasting that on beta, you're not going to manifest it. It's not going to create, the law of attraction doesn't activate. Rich people broadcast between alpha and theta. There's a sweet spot there. That's called the billionaire brainwave. It's called the wealth wave. So what I teach in the Your Wish is Your Command program is, number one, the complete manifesting formula. We also blow out the counterintentions. And number three, we get you to broadcast on the alpha theta wave. Now, the reason that that's significant is Nikola Tesla, Einstein, pretty smart guy, Albert Einstein, and Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors of all time, found that the brain actually is a broadcaster and receiver of frequency. Now, when that was talked about back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, it was science fiction. Today, not with quantum physics, but with real physics, we'll call it, or basic physics, it has been proven that the brain broadcasts and also receives frequency. It also has been proven that if you broadcast a frequency on the wealth wave or the billionaire brainwaves, that frequency actually affects other brains and physical matter. And I'll give you an example. Dr. Emoto in Japan took water, and he took basic tap water and froze it. And then he sliced it, looked at it under a microscope, and it has a crystal. And we're going to show some crystals here on the screen. So it showed crystals of basic tap water. Then he would take the tap water and have someone broadcast a thought, compassion or thank you or wisdom, into that water on the alpha theta brainwave. It affected the water. They would then freeze it, they would slice it, and then they would look at it under a microscope. And you can see here the different crystals, compassion, thank you, wisdom. They repeated this over and over again. Every time a person put compassion, it was the same crystal formation. They had heavy metal music broadcast, and you can see what happened to that crystal. They broadcast, I will kill you. So somebody was just sitting there looking at the water, thinking, just thinking, on the alpha theta brainwave, I will kill you, to the water. And then they froze it and look at how the crystal was changed. You fool. And you can see all of the different crystal formations based on thought. So this proved that the brain, if you're broadcasting a frequency, actually affects physical matter in the universe. The theory of the law of attraction is, if you think about what you want and broadcast it on the right frequency, it does affect other brains and physical matter, and thus will attract into your life the same thing. So this is how you manifest goals, dreams, and desires, manifest a better relationship, manifest more money, manifest what you want in life. That's why people read The Secret or Think and Grow Rich or Ask and It Is Given by Esther Hicks, The Teachings of Abraham, which are all very good. But also the reason why most people who read that and try to apply it, it doesn't work in real life.
Have you used this program in your own life? And what are some of the results that you've seen?
Well, I learned this back in the early 70s. And when I learned how to use the mind to create what you wanted, remember, I never went to college. I had no money. And today I've generated billions of dollars. I have 6 #1 New York Times bestselling books, over 50 million copies sold. I launched the Golf Channel in the UK. I had 3 TV networks there. Shop America was a shopping channel, and a whole host of material success in life, manifesting. But I'll give you one example. When I first learned this, I was in the memory training business. My first book and course was called Mega Memory. I founded the American Memory Institute, which became the largest memory training school in the world. And I was out there teaching memory training and actually having to make presentations and teach the course. And I was having a blast and it was a lot of fun. But I said, let me use this manifesting technique that I teach in the book, Your Wish is Your Command now. Let me use it to manifest something really wild. So I said, what do I want? I want $100,000 a month coming in. I said, no, I want $100,000 a week coming in without me having to work for it. Now, I don't know how that's going to happen. That the how is off my radar screen, but I used all the techniques. I followed the steps, which doesn't take very long, and I put that out into the universe. Virtually within a week, I was in New York City at the Carnegie Deli, which I think is closed now, but they have great corned beef sandwich. I ordered the Danny Rose. It was half corned beef and half pastrami. So I'm sitting there at the table eating my corned beef and pastrami sandwich, and there's a guy sitting right there. And I looked at him and I recognized him from television. I said, hey, you're Bobby Singer, the blackjack expert. He says, yeah. I said, you sell a course on TV on how to make money in blackjack. Yeah, through TV infomercials. He says, yeah. I says, I bought the course. It was terrific. So we started talking and he says, what do you do? I said, I teach memory training. And he looked at me and he said, you should be on TV selling a home study course on how to improve your memory. I said, no, that won't work. I don't think it'll sell well on television. I don't think it's the right market. He goes, I'll put up all the money and I'll pay your royalty.
Wow.
So we exchanged contact details. He says, I'll send you a contract. I went back to my hotel. I was staying at the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan. Went up to my room, called my number, checked out the answering machine, and there was a message there. And my buddy, Alex Duarte, Dr. Duarte, said, Kevin, I'm in Reno, Nevada, actually Lake Tahoe, and I'm talking to a friend of yours, Ed Beckley. He sold a course on how to buy real estate with no money down on TV infomercials. I told him what you were doing, and he said you should be on TV selling your course on memory. I go, that's bizarre. Give me Ed's phone number. So I call Ed up and I said, Ed, this is really strange. Just this afternoon, I met a guy named Bobby Singer. He goes, I know Bobby. Bobby said the same thing. He wants to put me on TV. He goes, I'll do a better job. Let me do it. I said, well, I'll tell you what, whoever sends me the contract first, I'll do the deal with. Ed Beckley, Federal Express to me the contract. Now, this is back in the day when nobody used Federal Express unless it was like urgent, right?
Yeah.
So I get this Federal Express. I sign the contract. A week later, I get the letter from Bobby Singer in regular mail. So I call up Bobby. I said, listen, I'm going to sign this contract to do the Mega Memory with Ed Beckley. He sent it Federal Express. We did the show, $450 million in sales with Mega Memory. My first 1 week royalty check was over $290,000. And every week I would get a check for over $100,000 in royalties. I was getting close to 20% royalties on 450 million. You can do the math. I manifested something that was completely off my radar screen by using the techniques and methods that I teach in Your Wish is Your Command. So it's worked for me dozens of times all around the world to manifest relationships, manifest health, manifest opportunity, manifest money, manifest all types of things. It works. I've also taught it to other people.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like myself, right, who are thinking, every day I make wishes. I try to manifest, dreams and hopes, whether they're with relationships or money, personal, professional, who might be sitting there, thinking, this hasn't worked for me.
Right.
And that's an amazing story for yourself. Has this worked for others? Have you seen others find similar success through this program?
It's worked for a lot of very successful people and well-known people. Jim Carrey, for example, says he used the technique to create the money that he made and all the great success. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, I don't know if Arnold Schwarzenegger ever formally read books. He never talks about that. But when he, on his Netflix documentary, talked about the specific techniques that he used to manifest success, becoming #1 in bodybuilding, making millions in real estate, becoming the highest paid actor in Hollywood, and then reaching the highest level in politics, never running for office, becoming governor of the state of California here, and then twice. He said, this is how I did it. And he goes through a series of steps, which is exactly the manifesting formula. I found this. This is an ad that was run in a full page ad in a magazine back, I think, in the 70s, early 70s. And it talks about a book called The Magic of Believing, which is an excellent book. And it's Liberace.
Yeah.
Liberace goes on to say that when he read this book, he was broke. After reading the book and using the manifesting technique, he became one of the highest performers in the world. And he goes on to say, this is the book that helped me get everything in life I wanted. So the manifesting techniques absolutely work. And I'll give you an example. We've taught the Your Wish is Your Command program. What I did years ago, about 20 years ago now, I went into the Alps and I took a group of people. They paid $50,000 to come in for 2 days. And I taught them the Your Wish is Your Command program. I recorded it and I put it on CDs. This was the original, this is 20 years ago. Nobody even knows what a CD is today, right? Okay, so that's a CD.
Oh, wow. Okay,
right?
yeah. So the audience.
Now it's all digital download. But
Right.
this is the original course that we sold for $1,000 back then. It was recorded live in the Alps. We had kings there. We had billionaires there. We had major people there that used the technique, that shared their stories with the audience. I transcribed it, and now I put it in the book, which is Your Wish is Your Command, which is quite frankly even better. But when people go through the course, let me just read some of the things that people have actually said. When I started the Your Wish is Your Command program, I was earning $85,000 a year. Now, 3 years later, I'm earning over $1 million a year. This works. Here's another one. I was in prison when I learned the Your Wish is Your Command method. I came out of prison without a penny. Using Kevin's method, I made over $5 million since leaving prison and now have a company that does over $150 million in annual sales. This works like magic. I used the Your Wish is Your Command method and manifested the relationship of my dreams. Because you can manifest it more than just money.
More than money, right? Yeah.
I read The Secret, that's the book, Think and Grow Rich, Ask and It Is Given, and studied the law of attraction and manifesting methods for years without getting any results. We were talking about that.
Right.
That's most people.
What they were doing wrong.
Your Wish is Your Command program taught me the secrets behind the secret. Within 6 months after listening to Kevin's audios, I made more money than I had in the previous 6 years. This is by far the best manifesting course ever created. Kevin teaches things that no one knows, and those missing keys make all the difference. I'll give you another one. Kevin is the greatest and best teacher of this material. He makes everything so clear and easy to apply. After going through the Your Wish course, I finally had the step-by-step recipe to make my dreams come true. I manifested a new BMW, a new house, a major promotion with increased income, and I am now debt-free. So these are the type of results that real people are getting when they apply the recipe. If you know the recipe and know the nuances, you get the results. Do you remember Julia Childs?
Yes.
Okay. Julia Child was known as the French chef, and she was a great teacher, more than a great chef, but she was a great teacher. And she was passionate about French food. She wrote a cookbook. And the way she wrote the cookbook was she would write the recipe, hand it to somebody, and say, make the dish. And she would watch. And in one particular case, her recipe said, saute mushrooms. And she saw people take mushrooms without slicing them up, throwing them in a pan, and then steaming them. And she said, that's not sauteing mushrooms. You can't brown mushrooms that way. So then she changed it. So she goes, brown the mushrooms. So she would give the recipe to somebody else. They would take the mushrooms, throw them in a pan, and still steam them. It's not going to brown. So she said, take mushrooms, button mushrooms, slice them approximately 1 centimeter thin, like flat. So she had to give very specific instructions and then brown the mushrooms. So she saw people look at the recipe, slice up the mushrooms, throw all of them in the pan, and they still steamed. They didn't brown. So she says, then she had to explain that you have to put each mushroom down on the pan like a little hamburger. And then you have to take tongs and turn them over so that they brown on each side. You can't crowd the pan, otherwise the mushrooms are going to steam. So the point was, she took a recipe that people were following incorrectly because she assumed that they would do it correctly. And she broke it down into simple steps so that it was foolproof. And that's what I did with the Your Wish is Your Command program. I made the steps foolproof. So you can't misunderstand the basic manifesting recipe. So the first reason people fail is they don't follow the manifesting recipe properly. When you go through the Your Wish is Your Command program, you don't have that problem. You will follow it properly. And then secondly, the counterintentions, it's written in such a way with hypnotic language patterns and different types of methods such as spaced repetition and embedded commands so that it blows out the counterintentions. This is the subconscious programming that you don't even know is there that's making you self-sabotage your success. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah,
I've been there. Yeah,
I self-sabotage. That's programming. So that you get deprogrammed and you actually get programmed for success. And then thirdly, we teach you how to broadcast your desire, what you want, on the wealth wave or the billionaire brainwave. We actually teach you how to increase the size of a part of the brain called the hippocampus. Researchers have now proven that wealthy people, when they're analyzed, broadcast on the alpha theta brainwave, and the size and activity of their hippocampus is much bigger and much more active than those with people that struggle financially or struggle with making their dreams come true. It's a brain thing. So we teach you how to change that. So virtually it's a success system that can't fail. It's been called the success system that never fails. When people apply it, they get the results.
I have to ask. So you mentioned earlier kind of this being based out of a secret society, right? One of these secret societies that you've been in, and you mentioned a few. I have to ask, if that's the case, why has it been kept a secret so long? Or why do these secret societies not want to give it out to the entire world? What's going on there?
Well, interestingly enough, when Napoleon Hill was going to write the book Think and Grow Rich, Andrew Carnegie was the richest man in the world, and he had just sold his steel business to J.P. Morgan for, in today's money, $400 billion in cash. So if you look at guys today like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, with Amazon or Tesla, they are worth hundreds of billions of dollars, but it's in stock. And if they try to sell that stock, obviously the value of the stock would crash.
Right.
So they really don't have that much money. They have a lot of money, but they don't have that much money. But Carnegie had 400 billion in cash. And so he decided he wanted to educate people. And a lot of people don't know, he's the guy who spent almost all of his money. He gave all of his money away.
Really?
Building libraries.
Wow.
Andrew Carnegie built all the libraries in America.
I did not know that.
Nobody knows this. And he funded it with his own cash. He just gave the money away. And he said, I will give away all my money before I die. That's my goal, to give back to society. So that's why he brought in Napoleon Hill and said, I'm going to teach you all my success secrets. And I'm going to introduce you to Henry Ford and all the rich people. They're going to teach you, and you're going to codify it and put it in this book and teach people. Henry Ford went crazy. And he said, if people learn how to use these techniques to manifest their goals, dreams, and desires, who's going to work in my factories? So the answer to your question is, there's a reason why the privileged elite really don't want people, the average person, to know the true secrets or methods, I should say. You use the word secret, it's overused, but it's really a method to use the mind to think and grow rich. Use the mind to manifest what you want. Earl Nightingale in the 60s, he was a very famous educator on personal development. He did a LP, the old vinyls, right? It was called The Strangest Secret. And in it, he said, you become what you think about most of the time. So he knew that the brain was a broadcaster and receiver of frequency. Einstein said that. Thomas Edison said that. Nikola Tesla said that. And now science says it. So we do know that the brain broadcasts, but it needs to broadcast on the right frequency, using the right technique without counterintention, and it will manifest. And let me just give you an example here. There are some very wealthy people that say exactly what I'm saying. Elon Musk, the first step to establish that something is possible. So the first step to manifesting your goals is you have to establish that it's possible. Then probability will occur. So he's saying is, if you want to manifest something, you have to get your mindset correct. There's poverty mentality and there's millionaire mentality. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men of all time, he said, the best investment you can make is in yourself in personal development. Learn how to use your mind. He also said, I always knew I was going to be rich. I didn't think I ever doubted it for a minute. That goes back to the book, The Magic of Believing, that Liberace used. You have to have confidence and know that you're going to manifest what you want. Most people can't because they have counter intention. So they can't believe. They can't really know they're going to manifest. They doubt. Doubt will sink a ship. Stephen Jobs, very successful guy, he says, you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in the future. Again, it's a knowingness, and that comes from removing the counter intention, which acts as self-sabotage. Oprah Winfrey, what a success story.
Pretty successful. Yeah.
And what a success story. She came from nothing, right? So she says, you don't become what you want. You become what you believe. Again, it's the magic of believing. But if you have counter intention and you don't eliminate that, it's not going to work. Richard Branson, Virgin Group, another amazing success story when you read his story. If you don't dream, nothing happens. So you have to get a picture in your mind of what you want, and you have to be able to dream big. Here's another one. By thought, the thing you want is brought to you. By action, you receive it. But the thought has to come first. You have to use your mind properly. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. Now that's kind of a little bit, advanced, right? By some physicist. But this is what scientists tell us, that the thought actually manifests and creates. The world without is a reflection of the world within. And we see this back for thousands of years, the statement, as within, so without, which means what you think becomes your reality. Your ability to control your thoughts will determine your success. Training the mind and being able to control the mind is the one critical thing that wealthy people have. They have a bigger hippocampus, they broadcast the right brainwave frequency, and they know how to use the mind to manifest what they want. Albert Einstein, imagination or dreaming is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. He said, what you can see in your mind is what will be produced. So you have to be able to see yourself in your mind in possession of what you want in order to manifest it. He also said, energy follows thought. It starts with a thought. And then Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest inventors of all time and one of the greatest geniuses who ever lived. If you want to find the secrets of the universe and the secrets of manifesting what you desire, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Wow.
And this is why the real key is the brain broadcasts frequency and it broadcasts a vibration. And if you can get a picture of what you want in your mind and broadcast it on the right brainwave frequency, it will manifest in your life. But people don't know how to do that. They don't know the simple steps. So this is what I teach in the Your Wish is Your Command program, the step-by-step method in which you can use your brain to broadcast a frequency or a vibration into the universe on the billionaire or wealth brainwave so that it will actually attract into your life and create in your life exactly what you desire.
For someone like myself getting involved, what would be the kind of maybe the key to finding success or the fastest ways to find success in this program? Or is there a way to do you want to rush through it? Do you take your time? Kind of what's that process?
A person gets the book. We also have the audio course available. The book is even better because I took the audios and cleaned it up and added things and, made it better in a new unit of time. But basically, it just tells you exactly what to do. It gives you the steps. Do this, and then do this. and it shows you do it this way, not this way. You might be asking, oh, what about this? So I'm like Julia Childs. I just don't tell you brown the mushrooms.
Right.
I say get button mushrooms, slice them up, take them and put them on the pan, and you don't crowd them. Flip them over so they're browned on both sides, take them out, then put a new batch in. So it will probably take 3 batches to get all the brown mushrooms you need for the boeuf bourguignon.
I love that because I'd be the one steaming them. I'd be the one just throwing them in there and steaming them. So I love it.
And all you do is you go through it. And when you read the book or you listen to the audios, I'm deprogramming you. So I'm getting rid of some of the counterintentions. I'm programming you for success. I'm getting you to get to what's called unconscious competence, where it happens automatically. You start thinking this way automatically. There was a guy, it was a movie, remember The Blacklist with, it was on Netflix.
Yes, James Spader, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And on The Blacklist, he loses all of his money and he's flat broke. So he's going to somebody to try to make a deal. And the guy says, Raymond, you're broke. And he says, I'd prefer to say illiquid. And I laugh because that's millionaire mentality. They don't deny that they don't have any money, but if they reframe it as in a different way. A general, I was with General Norman Schwarzkopf, who's one of the greatest generals. He was the guy who led the army in the invasion of Iraq. We were traveling with President Gorbachev in Australia. And I asked him, I said, what happens when your army retreats? How do you look at that? And he goes, we never retreat. We regroup, but we don't retreat. And I said, isn't it the same thing? He goes, it's not the same thing. He goes, it's exactly the same thing technically, but it's completely different because of the way you look at it. You've heard the phrase, the glass. There's half a glass of water in here. So you'd say, is the glass half empty or half full? And you would say, well, a positive person would say it's half full. No, it's not. You know what a wealthy person says?
What?
It doesn't matter if it's half full or half empty. I can always refill the glass.
I love that.
See the difference?
I love that.
So there is a millionaire or manifesting mentality that you have to be programmed with so it happens automatically. And when you do, you start making the dreams in your life become a reality. Here's an example. This is a person who went through the Your Wish is Your Command program. Last week, after going through Your Wish is Your Command, I was offered a contract to be a 1/3 partner of a company. I am now the chief commercial officer, and I'm 21 years old, earning over $500,000 a year. Here's another one. This is after they went through the Your Wish is Your Command program. I made more money last year than ever before, and already see this year is going to be more again. I get emails and handwritten letters. I have a stack of them about this much over the years. Last week, I made over $200,000 in sales by using the Your Wish is Your Command techniques. That's unbelievable. I got a bonus of over $1 million.
Wow.
From a profitable investment. I will have $2 million in investment sales this year. Unbelievable. The energy is still bubbling up after going through the Your Wish program. It's almost as if a soda that Kevin shook up opened. The bubbles are fizzing and popping. I felt it during the session. He was actually listening to the audios, this particular person. And I feel it now. I finally understand the idea of allowing emotions to come up and be released. It's critical that you release or clear the counterintentions from your field if you want to manifest things. Since going through Your Wish is Your Command, to my surprise, I didn't feel any grief anymore. It was like I was able to just observe my life as a movie. I'm free. I feel physically lighter when I walk. My digestion has even improved. I have so much energy. I'm not tired when I get home, and I'm only needing 6 hours of sleep. When you go through the program, not only are you learning specific techniques, but there's energy that happens that clears some of the energetic blocks in your field that make making money for you a struggle, which is, really significant.
I think you've pretty much answered this question throughout. I mean, I think the answer is everyone. But in terms of this program, who do you think will get the most out of it, and who should actually be looking to start up on this type of program right now?
I think anybody who wants more out of life should really consider reading the book or listening to the audios. If they've read any type of book on manifesting or success or making more money, they really should dive into this, because this is going to give them the recipe that works. It's a success system that never fails, and it has never failed. The only reason people are not getting in life the things they want is because they're either not applying the manifesting formula properly. They may probably don't even know it. They have counter intentions. And unless you clear those out, you're going to be struggling making money always. You're going to feel like there's a black cloud over your head. You're going to feel like you're swimming upstream. You're going to feel like you're always struggling, that things are hard. You're going to feel like there's a wind in your face, like there's something pushing you back. It's called counter intention or resistance. And the third reason is, when you do everything right, it's like, how come this isn't working? You're broadcasting on the beta or poverty wave. Beta, when you broadcast from your brain, it's the slave wave. You're not going to manifest anything. And that's what most people do. Rich people broadcast with a very active and large hippocampus, and we show you how to increase the size and activity. But they broadcast what they desire, that frequency, that vibration, on the theta alpha wave. And it makes all the difference. And we have a QR code up on the screen. People can click on that. We have a lot of information. They can read all about it, how I started, where it came from, some of the other success stories of people that have worked with. I taught a guy in England, for example. He was working out of his house, young guy, I think 21 years old, in the travel business, earning an average wage. He learned this technique, went on to make millions of dollars working with me, then started his own business that did over 150 or $2 or $300 million, actually British pounds, because it's in the UK, a business, sold that, went off and started his other business, raised millions of dollars for that, became incredibly wealthy, has a beautiful chalet in the French Alps, big, beautiful mansion in one of the richest neighborhoods in England, incredibly successful. Before the show, we were talking about in Portland, Maine, the fella that I met years ago who was a UPS truck driver. And I taught him these techniques to use as mine. He became the largest employer in Portland, Maine at the time, I think over 1,000 employees, and became incredibly successful. There was another fella that came to me. When he came to me, he was sleeping on a blow-up mattress with his wife in his mother-in-law's house in the basement. He was making pizzas. He was flipping pizzas at a pizza. But he saw me on TV, and he said he came to me. He wanted to be a mentor. He wanted me to be his mentor and help him. And I told him how to use his mind to manifest what he wants. He did. And his company had 350 employees. He did hundreds of millions of dollars in sales and became incredibly successful. So when you apply the technique, years ago, back in the 80s, I taught a lawyer this who was making 50 grand a year back then. He was a one-man law firm. I said, listen, here's how you can manifest what you want. What do you really want? Well, he went from $50,000 a year, and this is back in the 80s now, to over $1 million a year in income in just a year or two.
That's incredible.
So the response and the results that we see all around the world when people actually apply this are pretty staggering. And I would just say this: the book is cheap and it's easy to read. Getting the audio version is also available today. But consider investing in yourself. Warren Buffett, as I mentioned, said that wealthy people, when they first started, invested in personal development. They put time and money into personal development. That's what you need to do here. And wealthy people take immediate action. They are always doing what the other guys are still talking about. So wealthy people take action. So if a person is interested, like even yourself, and many of the people here in the studio, and you think you want more out of life. Look, you don't have to have goals to be a multimillionaire or a billionaire, but maybe you just want more out of life. You want a better relationship. You want a nicer financial situation. You want some financial security. And you think, I'm just not manifesting my goals, dreams, and desires as quickly or easily as I'd like to. Is there a better way? Check it out. Read the book. It's only a book. Read it, and you be the judge and see for yourself. But I can tell you this, millions of people have gone through this technology over the last decade since I've had the original audios available, right? In this, it's antiquated, right? This is like ancient, right? Yeah, the CDs, but now it's a digital download when you have the book. But people all around the world have write me and tell me their success story because it works.
So I have to thank you for coming by today. Incredible talk. I'm
My
leaving this
pleasure.
really inspired right now. Like I can kind of feel it going right now.
Glad to be here. And again, I would just encourage people who are watching to click on the QR code or the link and get more information. We have plenty of information, and I hope you make a positive decision on getting the book and or the audio course and check it out for yourself.
I love it. Kevin, thank you so much. And for everyone watching, incredible. Your wish is your command, how to manifest your desires, everyone. Jesse Grant here, and we'll see you next time.